And for a lot of folks that don't know why we're out here, it's in solidarity to demand accountability, transparency, and some modicum of authenticity from our media. I've said this many times that subjective and objectivity are two things we've come to understand a lot, and there's a third response, and it's not subjective or objective. It's dismissive. And what we're dealing with right now is subjectivity disguised as objectivity. And if you don't know what that is, that's white objectivity. Yep. That white objectivity is what public media prides themselves on. That's what every single public media outlet prides themselves on in this state and in this city. And they say, whoa, we're just being objective. Whoa, we're just being nonpartisan. Whoa, we're just being neutral. You're not. What you're doing is you're painting a narrative for white people to either feel comfortable or to feel fear. And you do not care about the black communities, about the children of color that you are criminalizing before they are adults, the young women that you are criminalizing before they even set foot out into the world, the non-binary and trans folks that you are dismissing from any narrative that you put out there. You are dismissing full identities, neighborhoods, and demographics from your stories to the point that we feel dismissed, we feel dehumanized, we feel not seen or not heard. That's not going to happen anymore. And the reason why we're here is because of numerous reports that Jay Kolls have made. The first one showing up on October 27th with the headline, "Protests at Homes of Minnesota Political Leaders Increasing, Some Threatening." Well, be specific. Which some are threatening? And if we don't know which ones are threatening, then you tell us. Because what's threatening is when police pull up on a protest and blow out somebody's eye. What's threatening is when people show up and start killing black men. What's threatening is when police show up and escalate the situation. What's threatening is when police show up and kettle 50+ people for standing outside of the 5th precinct doing a peaceful protest and arresting every single one of them. What's threatening is when a better built gang, a better funded gang dressed in blue with guns on their hips, tasers on their sides, and badges on their chest called the MPD show up to police bodies. They come here to interrogate our bodies, to vandalize our bodies, to devalue our bodies, and we're saying no more. No more. We're saying no more. No more. We're saying no more. No more. So when we pull up to Mike Freeman's house, somebody who is an abject failure at their job, start with Jamar Clark, John Ripple, go down the list of people that they haven't prosecuted, the cops they've never prosecuted. Mike Freeman is so bad at being an old white racist man, another old white racist man called him out for his racism and said he's sloppy. Judge Cahill called Mike Freeman to the floor and said you're sloppy. You got to be pretty bad at being racist if an older white man calls you out to the table in public. Then they complain about Lisa Bender. 2013. Terrence Franklin was shot in the basement execution style, a black man, in Lisa Bender's neighborhood. Mama never showed up to the table. Kept declaring bike lanes, kept declaring pedestrian zones, kept wanting to make the city denser, build up more unaffordable housing, and saying that she's building naturally occurring affordable housing when really Chicagoan developers, slumlords, and everybody else and white renters that order their books from Amazon are infiltrating uptown, raising the property prices to the point that the social elite are coming in and she's creating a second Edina. So you damn right we're gonna pull up on the front doorstep and demand better. Then they want to speak to people showing up to Bob Kroll's house. I don't need to explain that one. Nobody needs to explain that one.
Jay Kolls is
Bob Kroll brutalized a 15-year-old biracial kid in the 90s. Bob Kroll used excessive force on an elderly couple in 2002. Bob Kroll, what else do you need to say? He rolls with the motorcycle gang that dons white power paraphernalia. He is the Klan is him. So why wouldn't you show up to Bob Kroll's doorstep and demand better? And lastly, Mayor Fry. They pull up to Mayor Fry's house, and Jay Kolls has the damn nerve to say there was a child in that house. And if you notice the editing, and filmmakers here, you saw it, they used the photography sound effects when they show Fry's wife outside of the window to make it look like a damn Law and Order episode, to make it look like a damn Netflix documentary, to make it look like Saw 5. The hell out of here with that. There was a child inside that house. That's the story.
Say that.
There are children not in houses. That's why they were there. Because they're tired of the unsheltered community being criminalized, dehumanized, and never defended.
Yeah.
So if his wife wants to step out of a $250,000 condo palatial estate, then she can do that. Show that story, tell that story. That child has a roof. These children in encampments ain't got nothing. And although Fry ran on the message, I'm gonna get affordable housing.
Listen.
I'm gonna create housing for people.
Listen.
He's now looking at the biggest population of the unsheltered community in Minneapolis that anybody's ever seen, and he's not doing a damn thing about it.
Bye-bye, Fry.
He's determining whether people get housing or not, whether they're sober or drug-free. And the story you can start, Jay Kolls, you can start with this. People don't need to be sober or drug-free to deserve kindness, food, and shelter.
That's Mike Freeman's drunk.
But yet Mayor Fry seems to think so. And lastly, there was a story that was just run yesterday. And I'm going a little bit long because this deserves it. Jay Kolls wrote, majority of people take a survey that says that the George Floyd Square zone should be opened up.
Hell no.
Here's the problem. Robin Hutchinson of Public Works for White Public, and I will forever call it Public Works for White Public. I will never call it just Public Works. Robin Hutchinson for Public Works for White Public put out a survey a few weeks ago and said, hey guys, we're going to winterize 38th in Chicago. How convenient. How timely that you would show up now. Oh, you want to winterize it. They basically want to spill blood on the land and then pave it back to gold. And that's the way colonialists worked in the first place. They raped the land and paved it back to gold. But we're saying that the pavement isn't working anymore. So Robin Hutchinson came in with a survey, gave 3 options. Open up the streets, or open up the streets. When somebody gives you a test and you fill it in, you just took the test. 64% of the people filled out whatever option they were given. They settled for the survey. Everybody else said, no justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice! No streets! That's what they said.
Yeah.
And what Jay Kolls refused to report was that 64% of the people just took the survey. They didn't say open up the streets. They just took the survey. And everybody else said, the hell out of there with that. We're not going to let you come in here and take a city commission tax-paid murder and beautify it with city commission tax-paid workers. You can't do that. You can't do that. So we're not going to stand for that. And that's what he failed to include. Lisa Bender and Public Works for White Public can't kill a man, spill blood in the streets, and then come through and say, you know what, we're going to put up flower pots. We're going to put up art. We're going to put up a memorial and say the city of Minneapolis honors George Floyd. Well, the city of Minneapolis hasn't been honoring black folks a lot lately, so you don't get to come into the zone and beautify it. The people are in charge of the zone. So until you pay some restitution, until you answer 24 demands, you don't get to come into the zone. And as far as I'm concerned, if I see Jay Kolls in the zone, it is on site. I will speak to that man. I will speak to that man in his face. He will have to deal with me if I see him. This will be a face-to-face encounter. I'm not threatening violence. He has to come see the black community, and he has to tell the stories of black folks, of our community. Not just black folks, but our actual truth, our community. These lies create white fear, and they want to deliver white comfort in a city that prides itself on being democratic, telling the truth, being neutral, being nonpartisan, when really what they're doing is spinning lies and assassinating the characters of the dead that the police have already killed physically. We're not going to stand that. We're not going to stand for that anymore. Okay. And for the police that are down there with their car, y'all can stay over there. You are not welcome. You have the opportunity to shut up and listen because you haven't been doing a lot of it. You can stand right there and listen. That's what you can do. You can listen to black folks and the people's pain because you've been causing a lot of it and you haven't been listening to it. So y'all can show up with your $70K job, get paid by the people, and sit here and listen to us.
Listen! Go guards!
I want to